In 1986, a kid in Madeira, Portugal had nothing: a shared bedroom, a mother who cleaned hotel rooms, a father who watered football pitches for a living. Fast forward, that same kid signed contracts worth more than the GDP of some countries. And here's what nobody tells you: it was never about football. Football was just the vehicle. The real game, the billion-dollar game, was happening somewhere else entirely. In boardrooms, in legal offices, in sponsor meetings you'll never get invited to. And I'm going to show you exactly how it worked. Because I don't watch the games, I read the contracts. Let me tell you something they never explain on transfer deadline day. When a superstar contract gets announced publicly, the salary number is usually the least interesting part. Because buried underneath are the details that actually control power. Who owns the athlete's image? Who controls documentaries? Who profits from commercials using his face? That's where billion-dollar sports business actually lives. And buried inside Ronaldo's contracts was something that quietly changed football business forever. His image right structure became so commercially powerful because clubs discovered something uncomfortable. The player's personal brand was starting to rival the club's brand. Think about what that means. A player walks into a negotiation and says, "You need my face more than I need your jersey." That's not sports talk anymore. That's intellectual property negotiation. Most athletes get paid to play. Ronaldo created a third category: getting paid because people watch him exist. Training clips, airport walks, warm-up routines, celebrations, all of it. Commercial assets. A single sponsored Ronaldo Instagram post could generate millions in advertising value alone. Not sales, not revenue, attention value. And attention, once you can measure it, becomes negotiating currency. Now, most athletes get a sponsorship deal. Ronaldo got something different. Nike didn't just sponsor Ronaldo, they industrialized his image. And then came a word that changed everything: lifetime. Companies do not hand out lifetime deals for sentiment. They do it when the projected numbers suggest an athlete generates more value than the contract costs over decades. Projected merchandise sales, global market penetration, digital impressions, youth influence, emerging market dominance, cultural longevity. Reports estimated Ronaldo's lifetime Nike partnership at around $1 billion. $1 billion, not for a season, for existing. Because here's the fascinating psychology: Nike wasn't only buying performance, they were buying reliability. A globally recognizable face who could continuously generate headlines, campaigns, impressions, and merchandise demand for 30 years. Even critics accidentally promoted the brand by constantly discussing him. And this is where sports turns into corporate strategy. When debate itself becomes marketing, the branding has reached a completely different level. Now here's the question everyone actually wants answered: with all this money, where does it go? Because this is where Ronaldo does something most athletes never do. He doesn't just earn like a business, he spends like one. A private Gulfstream jet, reportedly worth around $19 million. Because time for Ronaldo is a contractual asset, a watch collection estimated in the tens of millions. Each watch, not a luxury, a statement of positioning to every room he walks into. Real estate across Portugal, Spain, New York, and beyond. Not homes, holdings. His own hotel chain, Pestana CR7, operating across Lisbon, Madeira, Madrid, and New York. An athlete who became a hospitality brand before retiring. His own fashion and underwear line, CR7, generating revenue independent of any football contract. And then, this is the part people don't expect: significant charitable donations. Donating blood regularly, funding children's hospitals, covering surgery costs for fans personally, rebuilding communities after disasters in his home country. Here's what that pattern tells you: every major expenditure either builds an asset, builds an image, or builds a legacy. There's almost no random spending. And that discipline, that same discipline showing up in his diet, his training, his sleep routine, shows up in his financial decisions too. Most athletes earn fortunes and leave with fractions. Ronaldo treated every dollar earned like a contract clause, to be negotiated, structured, and made to work long term. That's not an athlete's mindset. That's a CFO's mindset in a footballer's body. You know what the most dangerous thing Ronaldo ever did? It wasn't a free kick, it wasn't a hat trick, it wasn't even the transfer. It was this: he refused to let anyone else own his value. Not the clubs, not the leagues, not the broadcasters. He studied the system, understood the leverage points, and positioned himself so that the system needed him more than he needed it. And here's the uncomfortable truth for every person watching this: that principle has nothing to do with football. Whether you're running a business in Dallas, building a brand in Chicago, or just trying to understand why some people get paid for existing, while others grind forever and still get underpaid, the answer is always the same: own the attention, control the narrative, build transferable value. Ronaldo didn't just play the game, he changed the rules of every game around him. And that is the contract nobody puts on television. If you want more stories about what's really happening behind the headlines, behind the transfers, behind the contracts, subscribe to Qrazzles. People watch the games. I read the contracts.